Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, clumsy, cute manga characters, tons of backlog news, updates, and a return to fully. Listener discretion is advised. Episode 412, Play It Cool Guys. Hello and welcome to the Spiraken Manga Review, some podcasts and reviews about connected enhanced narratives. I'm your host Zan, saying what's up. I know it's been some time since our last episode, which I believe was March 21st. It's now April 12th. I'm sorry it's been so long. If you haven't looked at the website, on the 22nd we said we had a little bit of a break, and the reason for that is that one of our cats, Greta and my cats, one of the unofficial Spiraken mascots, Story, was getting sick. So I was taken to the vet, and questions were being asked, some stuff, potential. And the long story on March 31st, 2021, Story, we knew affectionately as Astoria, Duchess film, crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Yeah, kind of more so because Story was my cat. What I mean is, out of the two cats that we had, I was the one who picked up Story. I was the one she always would hang out with, and I guess you'd hear me when I'm editing her out because she'd be stepping on the keyboard. And if you look at the website, I put it focuses on my feelings, and I'm gonna miss her. She was one of a kind, and I know that she wanted me to stop playing with the box with lights and talking into the ball that she loved to play with. So I'm gonna move forward, and the next couple of episodes are definitely dedicated to her. And this was a podcast that was started because of it was a cathartic experiment to get minds off of some rough situations. We become an amazing cast that's lasted a long time. So I'm going to use this to be positive and think forward. And there's been a lot that's happening. But if you're joining us for the first time, I apologize for that. I need to get that. But welcome. Spiraken is some podcasts and reviews about connected enhanced narrative. What the hell does that mean? Well, it means that every episode we talk about one or two key topics, and I tell you the pros and cons about it. This is the manga review. Obviously, we talk about manga, Japanese comic books. I talk about the art style, the overarching plot, the characters, the overall narrative, and most importantly, if it's worth investing your time in or not. You don't have to agree with anything that I or my co-hosts say, but we try to be educational, enlightening, exciting, and most importantly, entertaining. You can check out any of our earlier episodes at www.spiraken.com. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and various other social media sites. Just type in SPIRAKN in your search bar, and I guarantee you'll find us one way or the other. We're also going to be pushing forward on a lot of little events. I keep saying I'm doing that, but I have motivation, and it's going to be good. Anyway, our last episode that was not a manga review was a Zan's Extraordinary Superhero Examination, where we talked about Zack Snyder's Justice League. I highly recommend you check that out. It's been a little bit of time. It's since the 21st, so let's actually get to some of the manga news, because there has been an absurdly large amount of news that's happened since I've been gone. So first off, some con news. The Toronto Comic Arts Festival, or TCAF, will be hosting manga creator Kabi Nagata, who's a creator of My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, who reviewed in an earlier episode, My Alcoholic Escape from Reality, and her latest manga, Straying Warrior Kabi Nagata Gourmet. But she's going to be at this virtual event as a main guest, and the virtual event will be online May through 25th. It's kind of cool because I'm a fan of her work, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So let's get into some other news. Some now historic news. The long-running Golgo 13 manga, which was written by Takao Saito, has tied the manga Kochiro Kochoshiku Komi Koen Mai Hasutsuji, or Kochikame, by Osamu Akimoto, in the Guinness World Record book. So Kochikame and Golgo 13 are tied for the most volumes published single manga series. When this April 5th, Golgo 13 reaches its 100th volume, and now Kochikame reaches its 100th and final volume in September 2016. Now, not only is Golgo 13 the oldest manga still in publication, but now it's got the most volumes for a single manga soon, once volume 201 comes out, and I'm excited for that. We reviewed Golgo 13 back in episode 165 of this podcast, but the manga is one which it's got a very similar plot, but it's got long-reaching stamp. It's still relevant to this. So now some art news from April 8th, which was 4 days ago, to May 8th, the Philippe Labon Gallery in as its inaugural tribute exhibition for acclaimed mangaka Katsuhiro Otomo. That name sounds familiar. He's the guy that made Akira and a few others, and Robot Carnival. Now, this exhibition will showcase original artwork by Otomo as well as illustrations by 29 international artists in homage to the seminal cyberpunk manga Akira. Now, the title is crazy. It's The Good for Health, Bad for Education, a tribute to Otomo exhibit. Kind of cool. Now, it features a selection of artwork originally exhibited at the 20 Angoulême Festival hosted by France's Ministry of Culture. There is a ton of featured artists, including Dominique Bertal, Matthew Babelet, Ian Bertram, Matthew Bonham, Francois Boulet, Francisco Catani, Simone Darmini, Adrien Demont, Jacques-Jean Zielowski, Benoit Faumont, Manuel Fior, Joel John, Kalonji, Victor Calvanech, Nicolas Karamidas, Lian, Lerns, Dirahman, Laureline Matusui, Hughes Nicole, Giannis Milonio Giannis, Marianne Moose, of course, Katsuhiro Otomo, Paul Pope, Vincent Perrault, Sarah Pinchette, Victor Santos, Olivier Vatine, and Vince. Great collection. If you're a fan of Otomo, I highly recommend it, especially if you're living in Manhattan. I would love to go, but now in Massachusetts, a little far for me to go, but maybe I'll make a drive down there. I've got a couple of weeks before it ends, right? So anyway, let's get into some other news. So for award news, Kodansha has announced the 13 nominees for the 5th Annual Kodansha Manga Award, which is broken up into 3 categories: Best Manga, Best Shoujo Manga, and Best General Manga. They used to have a Best Children's Manga section, but they ended up wrapping it up into 3 sections. So for Best Shoujo Manga, the nominees are Fire Force by Atsushi Okubo, Free Ren Beyond Journey's End by Kanehito Yamada and Tsukasa Abe, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime by Taiki Kawakami, and then Blue Lock by Mui Kaneshiro and Yusuke Nomura. Now for this one, I definitely would say that it's going to be Blue Lock or That Time I Got Reincarnated. Those are my bets. Even though I have heard things about Free Ren Beyond Journey's End, but I want Blue Lock or That Time to win for Best Shonen Manga year. Anyway, for Best Shoujo Manga, we've got Defying Kurosaki-kun by Makino, Condition Called Love by Megumi, Honey Lemon Soda by Morita, and A Sign of Affection by Morishita. I have not heard of any of these, but reading the synopsis, I gotta say that Honey Lemon Soda and A Sign of Affection are very intriguing, but I have no idea for sure. Anyway, now let's get to Best General Manga. Now we have I Want to Hold Ano-kun So Badly I Could Die by Umeshina, Sweat and Soap by Kintetsu Yamada, Hakozomo, Kyoban Joshi no Gyoshi, or Hokozomo, A Police Box Woman's Counterattack by Miyu Yasu, Futari Solo Camping with Just the Two of Us by Yudai Deba, or Yuya Sensei Akai Ito, or Miss Red Thread of Fate. Now, out of these, we reviewed Sweat and Soap recently, and I've heard good things about Hakozumi. So out of those, I want to say Hakozumi because Sweat and Soap, it's cool. It's a lot better after the second one. I was wrong. It's not as pervy as I thought, but it is still pretty good. My bet for that one is I could be wrong, though. Either way, these are all going on the Wheel of Manga after this week to fill things up and seeing how they go. But digress. The winners will be announced on May 13th, and we'll see how it goes to the winners, and definitely a nice prize. Now, for Netflix news, we've got, 2 big news. The first one, they're making a live-action Yu Yu Hakusho show with Toho Studio, and Netflix is also making a Gundam movie. Are these going to be good? Are they going to be bad? I have no idea. But on the one hand, we have things like Bleach and Fullmetal Alchemist with decent live-action movies, but then on the other hand, live-action Death Note, the American version. I have no idea. All right, let's get to some licensing news. First off, Denpa, the amazing indie manga publisher who does some great things. They're not independent, they're legitimate. They're awesome. They've acquired the license to Moto Hagio's They Were 11, or 11 Nin Uru, and they plan to do a special release in the third quarter of 2022 that's going to have 298 pages with some color pages, a double-sided fold-out poster in 4 trim, which means 8.5 by 12. This is inspired by an earlier release, so I'm actually excited for this. Now, if you've never heard of They Were 11, it follows a group of would-be space cadets on their final entry aboard a derelict ship. However, 11 students arrive at the ship instead of 10, and simulation tests start to go awry. Pretty much, one of these things is not like the other. Is it an alien? Is it an instructor? Is it a spy? Well, you have to wait and see. And who is the traitor? Who knows? This is the one that started it all, by the way, for mangas. This was the first. So now J Novel Club has licensed 6 light novel titles and 2 manga. Now, going order, we have Reincarnated as the Piggy Duke. This time I'm going to tell her how I feel by Rhythm Ida with illustrations by Noribon. And the premise of this is one day Slow wakes up and realizes he is the antagonist of his favorite anime. Now he has to use his memories from his past and his knowledge of the future to avoid the worst case scenario and confess his love this time around. Interesting premise. I'm just curious if he becomes a chubby boy or why he's called the Piggy Duke. The sidekick never gets a girl, let alone the protag sister by Toshizo with illustrations by U35. The summary of this is Kunugi Ko was once a hero in another world, but now he's just an extra in his best friend's romantic comedy. That is until a chance encounter with the protagonist propels Ko into a limelight he never wanted. This seems kind of a little bit more interesting because he's not even supposed to be the main character. He's in the harem. He's like, I have to help him out, and the sister's in love with him. I really could like this one. Guide to the Perfect Otaku Girlfriend, Roomies in Romance by Rin Murakami with illustrations by Mako Tatekawa. Summary: if I find a girlfriend, she has to be an otaku, not some flashy, extroverted gyo. How am I supposed to turn Kokoro Nishin into the ideal otaku girlfriend? She's not my type at all, but maybe she can help me if I can survive her living with me. Pretty much how to turn a extroverted gyaru girl into the perfect otaku girl. This one, not sure if it's that great. Reborn to Master the Blade, From Hero King to Extraordinary Squire by Hyoken with illustrations by Hagyu. The Hero King English's last wish is to live again as a warrior, though when he awakes he realizes he's been reborn as a girl to a noble family. Even when rejected from the knighthood, she sets out to be the most extraordinary squire there ever was. So, kind of interested on an isekai, but not really. So far, the one which I'm rooting for the most is Guide to the Perfect Otaku Girlfriend because it's not an isekai. Next one, The Emperor's Lady in Waiting is Wanted as a Bride by Kanata Satsuki with illustrations by Yoru Ishii. After being reincarnated with forbidden knowledge about the Rosada Empire, leaves her distance from all things imperial. Little does she know her surprise engagement with a Razanat knight is about to change her life again. Now this is getting a manga adaptation by Akira Chikuchi, and like we said, the original novels by Kanata Satsuki. I'm excited. And then the final light novel in manga is going to be Villainous Reloaded, Blowing Away Bad Ends with Modern Weapons by 16th Special Information Battalion with illustrations by Woohoo. Now, this is about Astrid von Oldenburg, who has been reborn as an Otome game villainess, and all routes lead to destruction. But what if she can create modern weapons using magic and her passion for military technology? She'll crush your fate with superior firepower. So this is essentially Baccarina, except instead of her being just, I'm an idiot, it's she's a crazy gun-toting nut. Not really a fan of this one. Like I said, out of these, the best one, the one which seems the most intriguing, is going to be Guide to the Perfect Otaku Girlfriend. Also, J Novel Club has announced that it's going to be launching a new imprint called Pulp that's going to be introducing and publishing European pulp fiction. And it's got 3 launch titles. First, Perry Rodan Neo, and this is going to be by various artists with cover art by Toei. 8, John Sinclair Demon Hunter by Gabriel Conroy and Jason Dark with cover art by Namco. Jessica Bannister by Janet Farrell with cover art by TTL. I'm actually kind of excited for Pulp because there was a Pulp Comics years ago, which was Fist of the North Star, but they're doing light novels that are from other countries, which are essentially just other novels, which means J Novel Club might be releasing other type of stuff. They might become more of a publisher than... I'm actually excited for this. Let me know what you think. Email me. We'll get into all that at the end. Kodansha Comics has licensed 4 new titles and will debut digitally in May over Creative Tuesdays. It's also licensed 6 new manga that's going to be this fall, so there's a lot going on. So this is all mixed up, just letting you know. Back When You Call Us Devils by Takashi Sano is one of the mangas. It's about Yusuke Saito, who's a normal high school kid, well, normal enough, though there's 6 months missing out of his memory when he starts to get confronted people there from his past who allegedly did horrible things to them. Suddenly, you realize that those missing 6 months may be crucial to remember. Otherwise, a skeleton in a closet might just make him a skeleton as well. Creepy. Next is Bomba by Osamu Tezuka. And this is a very awesome manga that was made by the 2020 Harvey Hall of Famer, Osamu Tezuka, who made one of my favorite mangas of all time, Blackjack. Also made Dororo, Astro Boy, and various other things. This is a thriller about feelings of hate inside all of us and a boy who has the power to summon a phantom killer horse. Satoshi Otano is a quiet, introverted ruler who has a crush on his teacher, Miss Reiko Tsushima. However, when he learns that Mr. Kito, a violent teacher he despises, has proposed to Miss Mizushima, his hatred wells forth, and with this anger, he seriously brings forth a phantom killer horse named Bomba. Be careful what you wish for. And next is Cigarettera by Minoru Furyu. And this is about Yosuke Ono, an average-looking bullied 17-year-old who has a very simple dream. He wants to get a motorcycle license and impress the girl that he likes, the girl Yumi. However, to his surprise, Yumi approaches him. Now, this might be a trap. There is a psychopathical stalker menacing their pursuits. Who knows what will happen? Psychological drama at its best. We have Emma Dreams of Stars, or Emi wa Hoshi no Me wa Miru by Kan Takahama, Emmanuel Zonuel, and Julia Pavlovich. And this is based on a true story of a former Michelin Guide inspector. Find out what the top secret life of a professional foodie is like. And Emma, a food writer, can't give up her childhood dream of becoming a Michelin Guide inspector and sends a resume to the Michelin headquarters. She informed 9 months later that there is an opening and goes to a mysterious interview. So this is actually the story of Emmanuel Zonuel. And if you're going to like it. So you know me, I like food manga, so this could be really... next is Medalist by Surumai Kaida. Now, this is the story of two people, Tsukasa, whose dreams were crushed, and Ri, who's left to fend for herself. Now, these two share a dream, and their tenacity may be the only through their destination, and the ice on the world stage is a competitive, very different. Next one is Penguin in House, or Pen to House, by Akio Aida. Now, Pen is a penguin. His favorite things are pancakes and fastidious house upkeep. Pen lives in the city with his friend Hayakawa, a human. They can't communicate with words, so the only way for Pen to express his love is by doing laundry and getting good deals at the supermarket. This is a chronicle of their life together. Let's snuggle on yourself next to a man and his cat, or Way of the House Husband. This is a slice of life involving a man and his penguin. It's a weird, odd couple situation. I don't know if this will be good. Might be, might not be. We'll have to... Now, the next one is a spin-off of Rent-A-Girlfriend entitled Rent a Really Shy Girlfriend, or Konojo Tomishirimasu by Reiji Miyajima. And this is an official spin-off, and this features fan-favorite girl Sumi, the shy girl longing to come out of her shell. Written and illustrated by the original creator, Reiji Miyajima. This is definitely a manga that if you're a fan of Rent-A-Girlfriend, you should check out. And yeah, that's it. Simple plug for that. So after that, we have The Springtime of My Life Begins With You, or Kimi to Ai Haru no Hajimaru by Niki Asada. This manga tells the story of a quiet girl named Suhiro who prefers the excitement of her books to the real-life anxieties of friends. She'd be perfectly happy in her own world until ultra-popular guy Takasago asked her out as part of a punishment game right in front of the class, bringing Suhiro front and center. Mortified, she tries everything to get away, but he persists and he's serious. How will she deal with such an interruption to a previously quiet life? This one is one that is a little... because it seems very different. Hopefully it turns to be better than how it's... Anyway, you have When Will Ayumi Make His Move? Soredemu Ayumu wa Yoshitekeru by Soichiro Yamamoto. And this is the guy who made Teasing Master Tagaki-san. And this is the story of Ayumu, who is in love with his senpai Yaotome, but he's sworn not to confess his feelings to her at the board game Shogi. The problem is, his love is obvious to Yotome. She can't stop trying to trick him to breaking his vow. Fall in love again, fans of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatori. Komi can't communicate, and Shikimori is not just a key. This is a manga for fans of those series. To be honest with you, I heard this is a little easier than Don't Toy With Me, Miss Oro, because that is punishment manga. This is a little bit better than, unlike Teasing Master Tagaki, which is still, out of these mangas, that's the best one of them. Anyway, digressing. With the Harem, Seki-sama to Harem Day is the last manga that's written by Rin Miyasa, and this is about Sanagi, who loves nothing more than money, not even love. After all, it's what keeps her small family going, but when a chance encounter with a stranger leads her to push away his offer of riches, She wonders if she's gone crazy and starts to believe she really has when he reveals that he's a sheik and proposes to her. She rejects him, but soon finds out that a marriage with him might be the only way to keep her family safe. Bum, bum, bum. So out of these ones, the ones that I think are going to be the best are When Will Ayumi Make His Move? Springtime of My Life Begins With You. And probably and definitely Emma Dreams of Stars and Bomba. So not bad, but all these are acceptable, definitely. And the final licensing is Yen Press, and they have one announcement. They're licensing 2 light novel series, I'm the Villainess, So I'm Taming the Final Boss, or Akuyaku Reiju no Na de Last Boss o Kaite Minashita by author Sarasa Nagasa and artist Mai Murasaki. Now, what's the best thing to do when the shock of a broken engagement revives memories of a past life? Well, break all the rules, obviously. That's exactly how a villainous young lady should act, and there's no better way to do that except claiming the Demon King as her own. That's one of the two, and the other one is No Game, No Life Practical War Game by Yu Kamiya. Now, this is a prequel to No Game, No Life, and before the creation of Disboard, a world where everything is decided by games, there raged a terrible war among the stars, but the Inamity weren't the only ones fighting to end it. One elf has had all of her dreams. Whoever is left standing once all the stars are destroyed is the winner. In other words, anything goes. Follow Think Mirvalin's exploits during the Great War, along with several out-of-this-world short stories originally included in the bonus features of No Game, No Life anime. This is a one-shot that I've heard a lot of really good thought, and I'm excited for that. So, to recap, we have 6 things that actually have dates. The Villainous is going to be released by Yen Press on July 20th, 2020. With the Sheik and His Harem is going to be released digitally by Kodansha May 4th. Springtime of My Life will be released digitally by Kodansha May 11th, 2021. Mails will be released in print by Kodansha May 17th. Back When You Call This Devils will be released May 25th, 2020. And They Were 11 is going to be released in a special way by Denpa in late 22. The rest of them, I will keep you up to date as I always. Now, the final bit of news to catch us up. On August 2021 sometime, Ogyu Kawagishi Noroken no Hime no Overkill Queen Life wa Rei Nanoni, or Overkill the Princess's Cursed Sword Even Though Life Was Already at Zero, the light novel series, is getting a manga adaptation, Shogakuken's Tawarata Spirits. Now, this light novel series centers on Thea, a boy whose dream is ceremonial sword maker. On his way to the capital to realize his dream, he's attacked by orcs at the last minute. A strange female sword fighter peeks and slaughters the orcs brutally in an overkill fashion. Her name is Shay, and she wields a cursed weapon. Thea then finds himself becoming Shay's exclusive blacksmith. Now, right now, there's no mangaka that's associated with this, but I'll let you know what happens when we find out more. Now, on May 12th, Spanish artists will launch a new manga in collaboration with Tezuka Productions based on various characters of Osamu Tezuka's mangas. The manga is titled Team Phoenix and will debut in Akita Shoten's Bisatsu Shonen Champion magazine. Now, the first chapter of this base spectacle manga will have 50 pages. Now, the story is pretty much hinted that a robot alliance rules over 90% of the universe. The Night Sapphire is troubled over the pain of non-robots, and she makes a decision for her. The cover that's shown shows Princess Sapphire. It shows Jungle Emperor Leo, and I think that's Rock Lee or Rock Hudson. Not sure. Gonna have to wait and see. I'm excited for this, though, because it looks very different, and it looks one of a kind. Anyway, starting on May 12th, Square Enix's monthly Shonen Ganken magazine is going to be launching 4 new mangas, including new series by Chisaki Kanai and Rino Takatsu. Now, 2 of these titles have been announced. One of them, Owl Night by Karino Takatsu, is going to be released on May 12th, and the tagline is Everyone Has a Secret at Night. The other announced title is Boku no Mori no Kyuketsu, My Curses Vampire's Princess by Kanai, is being released on July 12th. The tagline is a vampire experimental story covered in blood and a curse and love. There's no word on the other titles, but we're going to have to wait and see. Also, sorry about the volume. I didn't even realize that while moving stuff, I lowered the volume. So, my bad. Anyway, on April 22nd, Ken Kawahara, the mangaka of Aoi-chan Can't Study, is launching a new manga titled Uchiwa Hanaret Kureshite I'm Moving Out. This is going to be released in Kodansha's Morning 2 magazine, and it's teased to be a story about a couple that begins when they divorce. Also on April 22nd, Machi Hazuki's One Week Friends manga is getting a sequel manga in Gagen Joker magazine. Now, the title for this is kind of original. It's Sono Ate no Ishukan Friends, or 1 Week Friends Afterwards. This is a sequel to the series, and if you want to hear our review of the original 1 Week Friends, we reviewed it in episode 253 of this podcast. So let me know what you think. On April 7th, manga creators Shimaru Amagi, the creator of Kendachi Case Files, and illustrator Arias Kusakabe, creator of Holiday Love, launched a new manga titled Shinu Hodo Ashite, or I Love You to Death, and this was released in Kobunsha's Josei Jinsei Weekly magazine. Now, this is a love suspense manga centering on Mio and her handsome husband, Naohito, who've been married for 1 year and are very close. An incident happens in their neighborhood when a female reporter is murdered, and suspicious things keep happening around Mio. Before she knows it, Mio gets wrapped up in a tumultuous fate. Very creepy, and I've heard good things already the first volume. I will definitely put this on the wheel to review, though. On April 5th, Rumiko Takahashi, one of my favorite mangakas who created Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha, Yorosei Yatsura, Meisou Nikoku, and a bunch of other manga, drew a new one-shot manga in Shogakuken's Big Comics Original magazine. Now, this one-shot was titled Mukashi no Onna, or The Woman from the Past, and is part of her Rumik Theater series. You may have also heard it as the Takahashi Rumiko Gejiko. It's her one-shots. Now, the one-shot story begins when a ghost appears before a regular married couple living a quiet life. The ghost makes the husband feel guilty, and the wife feels her husband's trembling. Their average everyday life begins to crumble apart. On April 1st, Takeshi Azuma, the creator of Denpa Kyoshi, he is the ultimate teacher, or ultimate otaku teacher, launched a new manga titled Isekai Chef to Saikyo Boshimhime, or The Otherworld Chef and the Strongest Princess of Gluttony. This was released in Akita Shoten's Weekly Shonen Champions magazine. No word on this one, though. Final bit of news. On March 20th, Koji Ahara, the creator of Even a Monkey Can Draw manga, launched a new manga titled Atsubuya ni Nate manga ga Egakaro Narashima, or I Became Depressed and Could Not Draw manga, on Futabashi's web action manga website. Now, it's essentially an autobiographical manga about Koji Ahara, who's a veteran gag manga, going through COVID-19 pandemic and his depression that he gets. It's depicting his daily fight against mental illness seriously. So similar to how Disappearance Diary dealt with depression that Hideo Azuma felt, and it's gaggy, but it's dealing with a serious topic. Same thing here. This is dealing with the depression in the middle of the new coronavirus pandemic. So, yeah. And that is the news. I know 30 minutes of news isn't the ideal, and I know it took a while, but yeah, like I said, it's been a while. I promise to keep you guys up to date with stuff. That's my goal. That is what I want to do. So now, actually, let's get to the review of the episode, the reason why I do this podcast, and hopefully take my mind off of stuff. And so, if you remember from the last episode of the Spiraken Manga review, I spun that only, The Wheel of Manga, and it did turn to be there reviewing a manga that was written by Kokone Nata and published by Square Enix. Now, this is released by Yen Press. It's a shoujo manga, even though I was sure it was a josei or a yaoi manga. Couldn't really tell. The original run was 2018 to present. There are 3 volumes, and I describe it as a comedy slice of life color manga. Yes, you heard me right. It is a color manga. It is in full colors. It has a very pop art web design to it, and the title is Cool Doji Dansha, or Play It Cool Guys. And this manga tells the story of 4 individuals who are all clumsy and weird, but look really cool and do it in cool ways. They're people that you would laugh at, but they come across so aloof, so stoic, that people just ignore the stupid mistakes they make. And each section is divided by colors. So the first chapter is blue pages, second chapter is yellow pages, third chapter is pink pages, fourth chapter is green pages, and each one is dedicated to a different one of these characters that intersect in the same world. They don't end up connecting until the end of the manga, where you start seeing where their lives intersect. However, let me just express the characters. First off, we have Hayate Ichikura, who's a 20-year-old, cool, clumsy, embarrassed, and introspective guy who makes dumb mistakes like forgetting his wallet constantly, or handing the point card instead of his cash, or forgetting what elevator floor he has to get on, or forgetting where he's working. He's very forgetful, and he just pulls it off like, oh, I'm sorry, I made that mistake, sorry about that. And he's like, and people love him for it. They think, oh, it's such a shame, but he plays it off so cool, we gotta love him. Then we have Shun Futami, who's a 17-year-old basketball player who bluffs and pretends to be stoic. Now, what I mean by that is every time he makes a mistake, he pulls off like, yeah, I meant to do that. Like, oh, you know that you forgot to plug your earphones into your phone and everyone hears your music? Oh, yeah, it's for a joke. Haha. And everyone's like, no, we don't buy that. You're an idiot. But you're so cool, so we got to love you anyway. Or he plays a basketball game, the final game, with his shirt backwards. And they said, why are you wearing your shirt backwards? Like, oh, I'm doing this to psych them out. You know, this is a superstitious thing. They say that all the major basketball players do this, and people kind of buy it, but they also think he's nuts, or his mind isn't in the game, so they're losing. So he's like, oh, I'm letting them win for a couple of rounds to get hope up so I can crush them at the end because I don't need luck. I'm the best. He's kind of a DB, but he's okay. He is brother to a cafe owner named Asami-san, who actually we find out that one of the other characters works at the shop, and Hayate is going to be applying to that job because he needs money. So everyone ends up working at this shop or going to this shop. The next one is Takayuki Mima, who is a 27-year-old salaryman who is the unaware and unaffected type. He makes mistakes and he just doesn't know he did it and he doesn't care. When you first meet him, he gets a cup of coffee. He forgets to take the lid off the coffee, so he just drinks it. Nothing happens. Then he realizes he forgot to take the lid off. Okay, no problem. And he doesn't have a stir stick, so he doesn't stir it. So it's not mixed right. Or the quintessential scene is he's taking a nap at work, and one of his coworkers says, "Listen, you're going to take a nap? We have an eye mask that will completely work. It's in R&D. We're going to see if it works. Can you try it and let us know how you think?" Sure. Grabs the eye mask, puts it on the top of his head, on his forehead, and then he falls asleep without lowering it over, which kind of defeats the purpose of the eye mask. That's fine. He forgets that, and they said, oh, you have a meeting in 30 minutes. Go. So he goes to a meeting with his boss where he has to propose a new idea. And he gives this entire presentation, and his boss and his coworkers are completely dead silent as he gives this. Then we realize why. It shows him. He is still wearing the eye mask over his head, and he hasn't realized he's wearing it. He's that guy. And no one tells him because he said, oh, you look so cute when you make the mistakes, but we're not going to tell you. Like when he finally takes the mask off, like, oh, thank God he took that off. What has it been, 2.5 hours? No one told him, or he figured it out. We don't know. I think one of the quintessential scenes is he doesn't realize he makes a mistake when someone says, hey, maybe we can get some iced coffees or, a hot coffee. And he's like, okay, two hot iced coffees. And the barista's like, two hot iced coffees. Right. Sure. We'll get that for you. Good job. Anyway, last and not least, we have Soma Shiki, who's a 19-year-old student who is a self-accepting positive type. He's the one that knows he makes the mistakes. People point out at him, and he just owns it, but he laughs at himself about, like, he's modeling for a costume, and he starts walking out with the costume. He said, you have to get back to costume. He's like, oh, I made the mistake. Sorry. And he generally means it. He just accepts that he's a goof, and he's fine with it. He makes dumb mistakes, like he's working at the cafe that Asami-san owns, and he's supposed to write an ad talking about their food. And he ends up reviewing the staff meals. And he says they're amazing and great and wonderful. And she's like, I meant for you to talk about the menu, not the staff meals. But, if we make the food for the staff as good as this, people are going to love it. So this is fine. So he's kind of clumsy and weird. And the manga is about them interacting and dealing with each other. At first it's about them, and then what happens is that I think it's Soma and Shun end up meeting up outside of a pet cafe, and they're both weirded out by going in there. They said, listen, I'm not gay, we're not weird, but I wanted to go in there, and I think it'd be less weird if we went together. And it's like, okay, sure. And it gets really awkward and weird because they make dumb mistakes, and Soma is happy at the fact that he's playing with a porcupine. The porcupine stabbing him, and Shun is it's not Shun. Takayuki's like, I hope he realizes that he's bleeding right now by playing with it. He's like, oh, it's so cute. And it's like, oh, right. It is a weird manga that is definitely designed for... I have no idea why. I don't know who it's designed for, to be honest with you. I was confused as to who the demographic for this was. I showed this to Greta, and Greta was like, oh, this is really cool. I really like it. Then I found out it was a shoujo comedy slice of life, and it's like, okay, this is just a shoujo josei. Let's follow these guys around and see life. Nothing end of the world happens. It's just about these cool guys doing their thing. And it's okay. It's not great. Honestly, the art is great, and I love the fact it's all in color, but the story, it's kind of confusing, and I honestly I don't know. I would have expected more from this. I really would have. I don't know. But let's get to the review, shall we? So overall, thinking about everything, the art style, it's decent. The color pages is a great touch. The story is really forgettable, and nothing really happens in it. And I don't know, maybe it's just not for me. I think it's just average at best. And I have to give this a gift from your crazy Aunt Muriel. Okay, but forgettable. I'll forget about this by next week. Hopefully I get a manga which is super awesome. We have to wait and see, though. And I mean, you can disagree with me if you want. If you have any questions or comments, or if you know why I'm missing something, you can email me personally at zan@spiraken.com, or tweet me at Spiraken at Twitter, or Instagram at Spiraken. And remember, like and subscribe, definitely. But let me know what I'm missing. If you do, I'll definitely read it on the podcast, or you can email me or tweet me or join our Discord at tinyurl.com/Spire Discord, which is our Discord site where you can recommend manga for me to review and other things as well. Sorry, I had to get the chilling out of the way. But yeah. And worry not, I will be posting another episode this week on Wednesday to catch up. And for the TV Tuesdays, we're a little behind on that. We haven't released an episode in a few weeks. So we're probably going to take a hiatus this week, and then next week we're going to start fresh. We're going to skip a couple of weeks of stuff because a lot of things are on hiatus anyway, but we will be doing a Zan's Extraordinary Superhero Examination podcast to talk about Winter Soldier and Falcon and the episodes we missed so far. Let you know our thoughts on that, because a lot has happened, and after last week's episode, a lot to talk about. So anyway, that's a different podcast. This is the manga review, so let's get to the second to last thing we talk about, which is the mangas released. Now, we've got 3 weeks to talk about. We've got the 23rd, we've got the 30th, and we have April 6th to talk about. So that's a lot of manga. So on March 23rd, 52 mangas were released. We had 86 Volume 2, the manga, Beauty and the Feast, Volume 1, Bottom Tier Character Tomozaki, Volume 6, the light novel, Bungo Stray Dogs, Volume 18, Can't Stop Cursing You, Volume 1, Carol and Tuesday, Volume 2, Chasing After Aoi Kushiba, Volume 1, Classroom of the Elite, the light novel, Volume 7.5, Date Alive, Volume 1, the light novel, Do You Love Your Mom and Her 2-Hit Multi-Target Attack, Volume 4, the manga, Fiancé of the Wizard, Volume 3, Goblin Slayer Side Story 2, Dai Katana, Volume 1, the manga, Goblin Slayer, Volume 11, the light novel, Hana-chan and the Shape of the World, the manga, Heaven's Design Team, Volume 4, If I Could Reach You, Volume 6, I'm Great Priest Imhotep, Volume 8, In Another World with My Smartphone, Volume 1, the manga, Kaiju Girl Caramelis, Volume 4, Carnival, Volume 11, Kingdom of Z, Volume 3, Last Round Arthurs, Volume 2, the manga, and Volume 4, the light novel, Love of Kill, Volume 1, Luskius, Volume 3, Magical Angel Creamy Mommy and the Spoiled Princess, Volume 1, Magical Girl Rising Project, Volume 11, the light novel, Mashoku Tensei, Roxy Gets Serious, Volume 5, Otaku Elf, Volume 1, Our Teachers Are Dating, Volume 3, Please Put Them On, Takami-san, Volume 1, Rainbow and Black, Volume 2, Rascal Does Not Dream of Siscon Idol, the light novel, Reborn as a Polar Bear, Volume 5, Sex Education 120%, Volume 1, So I'm a Spider, So What, Volume 11, the light novel. I gotta pick this one up because I'm way behind on that series, and I'm loving the anime, even though I don't like how they're splitting it between Kamoko's time and the other Isekai characters. I'd rather just be Kamoko's time, and then Season 2 they introduced the Isekai characters, but whatever. Something's Wrong with Us, Volume 6, Species Domain, Volume 9, Strawberry Fields, once again, Volume 2. Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon. Boonies moved to a Starter Town, Volume 5, the light novel. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 4, the manga. The Dirty Way to Destroy the Goddesses' Heroes, Volume 6, the light novel. The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter, the light novel, Volume 3. The Rampage of Haruhi Suzumiya, the light novel. The Vampire and His Pleasant Companions, Volume 2. The Wavering of Haruhi Suzumiya, the light novel. The World's Strongest Rearguard, Labyrinth Country's Novice Seeker, Volume 5, the light novel. Toilet Bound, Hanako-kun, Volume 8. Unnamed Memory, Volume 2, the light novel. WITCH, the graphic novel, Part 7. New Powers, Volume 3. When a Magician's Pupil Smiles, the light novel, which is the one-shot. And Wizards of Mickey, Volume 2. Now, this was what was released on the 23rd. Now, let's get to March 30th. We had 21 titles. 86, Volume 7, the light novel. BL Metamorphosis, Volume 4. Bofuri, I Don't Want to Get Hurt, So I'll Max on My Defense, Volume 1, the manga. Drugstore in Another World, The Slow Life of a Cheat Magician manga, Volume 1. Ghostly Things, Volume 3. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, the light novel, Volume 14.5. I am behind on that one, too. High Rise Invasion, Volume 17 to 18. Himoto Umaru-chan, Volume G1, which is Volume 13. How to Treat Magical Beasts, Mine and Master's Medical Journal, Volume 5, the manga. I Was a Bottom-tier Bureaucrat for 1,500 Years, and the Demon King Made Me a Minister, light novel. Love and Heart, Volume 1. Main Abyss, Volume 9. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Volume 10. Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, the light novel, Volume 9. My Boy, Volume 7. Precarious Woman Executive Miss Black General, Volume 6. Roll Over and Die, I Will Fight for an Ordinary Life with My Love and Cursed Sword, Volume 1. Sayonara Football, Volume 4. The Hero is Overpowered but Overly Cautious, Volume 6, the light novel. Yokohama Station, SF. And Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs, Volume 13. And finally, from April 6th, we have 21 titles, which was last week. So we had A School Frozen in Time, Volume 1, An Incurable Case of Love, Volume 7, Berserk of Gluttony, light novel, Volume 2, Chainsaw Man, which we reviewed last week, Volume 4, or last episode, Volume 4, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Volume 21, Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life, Volume 12, the light novel, Dr. Stone, Volume 16, Glepnir, Volume 9, Hazard Skill, The Guild Member with a Worthless Skill is Actually Legendary Assassin, Volume 1, the light novel. How a Realistic Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, the light novel, Volume 11. Another series I have to get up to date because it's Volume 9, so I need 2 more to get caught up. Jujutsu Kaisen, Volume 9. Magical Girl Sight, Volume 14. Moriarty the Patriot, Volume 3. My Hero Academia, Volume 27. Natsumi's Book of Friends, Volume 25. Nurse Hitomi's Monster Infirmary, Volume 12. One Piece, Volume 96. Shikimori, Not Just a Cutie, Volume 4. The Kingdoms of Ruin, Volume 2. We Never Learned, Volume 15. And finally, Yona of the Dawn, Volume 29. Now, you've heard of the 3 that I'm interested in. How Realistic Hero, Soma Spider, and Grimgar. But I'm also interested in Love and Heart and... what was the other one I was interested in? Love and Heart, and I Was a Bottom Tier Bureaucrat, and Umaru-chan. Now, which of these are you interested in? Let me know. Email me, zan@spiraken.com. So, either way, hope you guys enjoy this episode. I know I'm kind of in a little bit of a funk, but I will get back to 100% Zan. Just give me some time. I gotta get my energy back up and fight the gloomies. But let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga. I know, not my best, but like I said, don't have the full for it. But anyway, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. What I've done is I've sent a manga to each of the 10 slots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the Wheel of Manga, whatever number it lands on. There's going to be a manga on that number, and that's the one I review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 413. Now, we got some great titles on here. We got some bad titles on here, and most of them you can find on our Discord at tinyurl.com/Spira Discord. Click on our link, join, let me know what you think. So now let's spin and see what we're reviewing in the next episode, shall we? Number 4. So, in the next episode, I'm reviewing a manga titled Ne Ne Ne. Any. I have no idea what that's about, but I'm definitely going to review it and let you guys know ASAP. So, we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Thank you for understanding. Hope you guys haven't left. Remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends. I love doing this, and I want to keep doing this as long as I can. And like I said, I've got some things in the works, which are to push this podcast further. And I hope you guys stick around and enjoy. Stay with me as I go on this insane journey of manga-dom and podcast-dom. Let me know what you think. And as usual, I'm your host, Zan. I'm Gonzville. Catch you guys next time, and keep reading manga. See you later.